Three More Flags by Ray Melner is a piece consisting of dollar bills sewn together on a wooden panel to create the American flag. This caught our eye because it represents money in America, and minimum wage is a prevalent issue regarding the money and the economy of the United States. As college students who currently hold minimum wage jobs but are soon to graduate and work salary-based jobs, minimum wage is a very relevant to us, which is why we wish to discuss both sides of the spectrum. But ultimately, are you for not raising the minimum wage? Minimum wage in America isn't as old as you think it may be. The first federal minimum wage was first introduced by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1938, also known as FDR. Minimum wage was set as 25 cents an hour, which works out to about $4 per hour in today's money. That minimum wage was introduced as part of the Fair Labor Standards Act, also known as FLSA Act. The first federal minimum wage laws were passed in America in 1938. Since FDR's first federal minimum wage in 1938, the minimum wage has been raised 22 times by 12 different presidents.
An increase in the minimum wage will lead to unemployment, inflation, and a lack of motivation amongst workers, which does not support a balance. On the other hand, it can be argued that the widening economic gap between the rich and the poor does not propose balance either. However, raising the minimum wage will not bridge that gap. On a macro level, a rise in minimum wage will also lead to a rise in prices, and individuals will lose their small-owned businesses. A minimum wage should be seen as a starter. It should act as a motivation factor for individuals to seek higher skills to better themselves. Sometimes life throws unexpected obstacles and you have to take what is available. Whether it is for a few weeks or a month, a minimum wage job is what you have to depend and live on. It is reality for some. However, the tough living conditions that comes with a low wage should act as a motivation factor to improve. It is understandable that school is not for everyone, but there are other ways in which you can improve yourself and broaden your skill set. You can work harder in your current job to get a promotion, or gain a new skill to earn a higher wage. Jason, a fellow college student, expresses his point of view here.
Yo, my name is Jason Davis. I'm 22. I do security and I work at Champs shoe store. All
right, Jason. So, are you getting paid a minimum wage?
Yeah, I am actually. Shaking my head.
Do you see yourself working a minimum wage job at age 30?
No.
Why not?
Because I can go on to bigger and better things, you know. That's the goal. Always improving, reaching for greatness.
Okay. So what does a minimum wage mean to you? For example, do you think individuals should be able to live off a minimum wage?
Well, that's a tricky question, you know, because I feel like sometimes people got to settle for minimum wage jobs for that maybe specific time period, you know, a couple weeks, couple months, whatever it may be.
Right.
So I do feel like they help, you know, they give you something instead of nothing.
So would you say it's a starter?
Yeah, yes, it's definitely a starter. What else was it?
That was it. Okay, so last question. Do you think the minimum wage should continue rising? If so, why or why not?
I think that whoever's conducting minimum wage should get together with whoever's conducting housing wages, like housing prices.
Okay.
And then they should find like a common ground to where minimum wage is at a set amount that's good enough, but not, you know, it's not gonna put you in no mansion.
Okay. So a living wage.
Yeah, it should be a living wage, right? A minimum living wage. It's pretty good.
Okay, that is it. Thanks. Just like Jason mentioned, a minimum wage job should act as a starter for an individual no matter his or her circumstance. A higher minimum wage may encourage people to hold a job and work more, thus lowering the unemployment rate. According to a study by the Executive Office of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, higher wages for low-income individuals reduce crime by providing viable and sustainable employment. On the other hand, employers are forced to reduce the staff numbers when the minimum wage is increased, or automated processes may be used to replace service employees. They can't afford operation costs, and increase in wages still produce a profit. This is the case for this San Francisco bookstore owner.
San Francisco founder of Borderlands Books, Alan Beats. Alan is closing his independent bookstore after San Francisco voted to raise the city's minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2018. Alan, thanks for being with us. So you're closing because you can't afford to pay higher than minimum wage?
Well, not exactly. It's not that I can't afford to pay higher than minimum wage, but I can't afford to pay a minimum wage that gets that high.
Yeah, I mean, minimum wage obviously down at 7 and 15, and now, of course, this jumps it up to 15. We had said before in the lead-in that you could survive Amazon, you could survive Barnes & Noble, Borders, eBooks, all these other things. What was it about it being jumped up to $15 an hour that was just too much for you to take as a small business person?
Well, I should probably clarify that the minimum wage actually in December was $10.74, so it's not quite as big a jump as from $7 to $15. But the long-term costs just end up getting too high. About 2 years from now, I'll be running in the red.
How many?
It'll get worse from there.
How many employees do you have?
5, not including myself.
And so are all 5 of those minimum wage employees?
No.
So how many minimum wage employees do you have?
3.
Yeah, so right now it's $11.05, and it's going to jump up in July 2018 to $15 an hour. How is the threat of the continued rises? How does it not just impact you, but also impact other small business owners that you've talked to?
Well, it's a potential challenge for almost all the small business owners that I've talked to. It's especially acute for bookstores because unlike most businesses that can slowly raise the prices to make up for the difference, what I sell has a price printed on it, and so I can't really adjust my prices.
So, Alan, what presents more of a problem for you? Is it the potential hike in the minimum wage as a threat to your business, or is it the increasing growth of online shopping for books and things like that, which is crushing so many bookstores, independent bookstores? What's the bigger problem?
I would say that the stores that were going to be crushed by online sales have been crushed already. I think all of the stores that are in business now are in business because people choose to shop there.
3 employees means $15 more an hour. You multiply that times the 8 or 9 hour, 10 hour workday. Are there other associated costs that you face in addition to the $4.95 rise? Are there health care costs? Are there unemployment insurance costs? Is a higher cost than what we're looking at on paper? Because some may say $15 more an hour.
For 3 employees.
Right, so
that shouldn't put you under.
No, but I want to hear from him. It must be something that's creating a greater pressure.
Not particularly. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, this is a 39% increase in my cost of wages for my 3 minimum wage employees, and obviously I can't give them, can continue increasing their wages and not increase the wage, for example, of the general manager of the company.
Right.
So her wages have to go up as well. So basically it's about a 39% increase across the board.
Gotcha.
There are other costs associated with that, but it's the 39% that is what matters.
All right, Alan, thank you so much.
No matter how high minimum wage rises, it will still be minimum wage. It will still be the price floor. An increase in money supply will decrease the price of the dollar and increase the price level. Inflation is inevitable with minimum wage continuously increasing. The cost of living will increase for all, so the higher minimum wage will not be helpful. Sonia, a high school student, holds the same mindset. Are you getting paid a minimum wage?
No, I'm not getting paid a minimum wage.
What does minimum wage mean to you?
Minimum wage is the minimum amount of money someone has to be paid in the United States, like because of our laws and stuff, for their job.
Do you see yourself working a minimum wage job at age 30?
Definitely not.
Do you think the minimum wage should continue to rise If so, why or why not?
I don't think minimum wage should rise because it's always going to be minimum wage no matter how much it increases. So increasing it would just cause more inflation in the future. And with the inflation, that means that people who are 30 or older trying to live off a minimum wage job are still going to be continuing to struggle no matter how much it rises.
Alrighty, thanks, Sonia. Are you currently getting paid a minimum wage?
No.
What does minimum wage mean?
Minimum wage means that people just getting basic pay for the job because they didn't have better education to get a better job.
Okay. Do you think the minimum wage should continue rising? Why or why not?
I don't think it should be rising because it will put a lot of burdens on the business because for those people getting minimum wage jobs, well, in my opinions, no, it shouldn't be rising because it just, you know, it will be forcing a lot of company move to other locations, instead of staying in America or in California, because it will put a lot of pressure, a lot of burdens for the company.
Okay, thanks. Many cities in the Bay Area are expected to raise the minimum wage up to $15 by 2018. It is apparent that it is expensive to live in the Bay Area, and headlines such as the city of Oakland reaching a minimum wage of $15 only drive the cost of living even higher. Although it would be nice to have a high minimum wage as a college student, we want to know how it will affect us in the coming years when we hold a salary or even our own businesses. We want to not only inform the causes of increasing the minimum wage, but also to convince individuals the harm it can lead. We want both high school students and college students to realize a minimum wage job is a starting point and should not be seen as a living wage. Although it sounds good on paper, raising the minimum wage brings along many other issues, such as a rise in prices, rise in unemployment, and a lack of motivation amongst workers.